Hello and welcome to this very special programme created to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Disney's The Lion King in London. Millions of theatregoers have experienced this award-winning musical, and now you're going to get the opportunity to go behind the scenes of this unique production. You're going to find out how the classic animated film was adapted for theatre, how the visionary director Julie Taymor and her entire creative team met the challenge of recreating a huge number of exotic animals and vast African landscapes for one stage, and how the team here at the Lyceum Theatre keep this show running year after year and looking as spectacular as it did on opening night. This is The Lion King behind the scenes.
Think about an animated movie. This one is about 74 minutes long. That's less than the first act of the stage show. Remember the scene where Mufasa is walking and little Simba's walking, and his little tiny foot goes in the big footprint of his father. That one image of the little foot in the big footprint tells us everything about father, son, a young boy hoping to one day fill his father's shoes. Well, how would you do that on stage? Adapting it to the stage meant expanding the story. There were lots of challenges in putting Lion King together, but certainly the biggest one was for the audience to accept that the people they're seeing on stage are representing animals.
Facing the almost impossible task of translating the hit film to the stage, the show's producers knew that it would require a truly unique and inspiring vision.
And there's a rule in Hollywood that all you need is one really great idea. And I had one really great idea, and that was Julie Taymor.
In approaching her first Broadway musical, Julie Taymor had the idea of using an eclectic range of theatrical techniques to retell the story of The Lion King. Known for her innovative work as both a director and a designer, Julie did not simply put the film on stage. She created a theatrical language to tell the story as it had never been told before.
The fun part for me was, how do you do a stampede on stage? How do you create the image of the savannah? Because the animated film could do it all. They could create those vast landscapes and the cave of Scar. I love doing that in the theater, finding highly theatrical means to create a naturalistic landscape. I don't need all that fur. I don't need literal paws. Maybe just a tail. You know, just the mask and a tail, and then let the actor suggest it, like the movement of the shoulders moving forward. You get the strength. He doesn't have to be on all fours doing that.
Think about Simba. We use shadow puppets, rod puppets, hand puppets, and 2 human actors to play one character in the show.
The story, the animal kingdom, the music, all the inspiration for the masks and puppets comes from Africa, and musically South Africa.
After the movie The Lion King was done, we made a record album called Rhythm of the Pride Lands. And it was songs inspired by The Lion King, or taking themes, musical themes of The Lion King, and expanding them out and giving them lyrics. That really gave it something that no one had ever heard before. Without that music, there probably is no essence of The Lion King.
One by one.
As well as telling the story and reflecting its rich African origins, the creators of The Lion King used different physical elements of the production to help emphasize the important themes of the story.
The circle of life is in the designs all through the show. At the beginning of Act 2, there's a circular water hole. Mufasa's mask, it's a circle. When we push the gazelles across the stage on this contraption, you see wheels turning, circles. Throughout The Lion King, which is about the circle of life, we see circles everywhere in the show. At the very base of The Lion King is a fundamental story about responsibility. When we made the movie and when we made the stage show, we talked about this a great deal. The whole thing is actually about Simba facing his responsibilities.
The most important theme is about truly believing in who you are and what you can be, and aspiring to do your best. And I think what Simba has to go through in order to achieve what he's meant to be, with which is his rightful place as king, he has to go through quite a journey.
The story is a classic prodigal son story. The young prince has to go out on a journey into darkness and find himself before he's allowed to come home and take on the mantle of kingship. And it's a story about community.
And that's what The Lion King is a representation of. It's all of these different fractions of the savannah coming together to pay their respects to the future king.
Children and adults alike suspend their disbelief, knowing that it is theater, that we're not really in a savannah, that we're not really in a jungle, and they go with you. And their eyes focus after a while on just the character.
When they look at what's behind me right now, and they don't see a circular staircase, but they see a rock. When they see people with grass growing out of their head and say, it's the savannah. When they see a man with a fantastic mask over his head and they say, oh, he's a lion. Then the audience is on the journey with the theater maker, and that's the best kind of theater.
The journey of The Lion King takes us to a number of locations, from the African savannah to the jungle. These scenic challenges led the show's creators to employ a number of different theatrical techniques to create The Lion King's world on stage.
It's a very relatively simple set, but actually it's an ingenious set in that it's able to create several different environments. You get a great sense that it's not just this tiny box you're looking at, it's the vastness of the great African jungle and the savannah.
I talked to Richard Hudson, the set designer, and he said the whole point of theater is it's for the audience to fill in the blanks. You give them a little bit and they see more.
If you look behind me right now, you see the cyclorama, which is the back wall, that we can light, and it looks like infinite space. And also look that the floor is tilted, or we call raked. So the floor raking up, going into that big expanse at the back, the cyclorama, creates a sense of almost infinite space for you, as if it goes on and on and on. And then Pride Rock, we knew we needed Pride Rock. It's a major symbol from the opening of the movie, and it's where the lions live.
Although its effect from an audience perspective is very simple, with this set sort of corkscrewing out of the stage, the machinery and the mechanics and the engineering, and particularly a lot of the computer side of things, is highly complex.
With The Lion King having to recreate so many different environments, the show's creators knew lighting would play a huge part in realising the story on stage. A challenge not just creatively, but one that would put huge pressure on the technical production team behind the show.